All right.
Yeah, at the end, she's gonna go last. So you could just finish it if she gets.
All right. Oh, but I will.
Hi. So Catherine's gonna go up there and go up and she's happy you're opening today.
I did. I'm good.
And then I do the.
Sure. Thank you.
I mean, I do the face. I do the face stuff. He does the.
You're a butterfly person. I am. How you doing?
Hey, Tim.
Actually, there's a third right there. There's a third.
Mine check sticker. Pick a red. What are you looking for?
They're gonna do her last. Barbara's going to bring down the gifts. Barbara brings down the gifts. So that she can Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Althea, everyone. This is a special new member Sunday, which is just going to be so much fun and wonderful. And we are we're so glad to see familiar faces here too as well. And so thank you to everyone for sharing your time with us here today at our beloved Althea. One piece of business, of course, always is be sure you shut off your cell phone and put it on vibrate or hum or whatever setting, or stun, something like that. And before we get into the nitty-gritty of our service, we have a couple of acknowledgments we always like to do every Sunday. We've been doing this for about a year, and that one is the land acknowledgement. Realizing that the land that we sit on, or stand on, or that Althea sits on, was part of the Cheyenne, Arapaho, and Ute tribes. And we want to acknowledge that this is the indigenous land of them, of those peoples. It's important for us to name it. And their legacy matters because this was their sacred ground. And our building is home to two nonprofits, the Spirit and Son of the Sisters of Colors United in Education, whose work through activism, programming, and education is very impactful. And they were actually in the newspaper this Sunday regarding the Park Hill, what should I call it? The development there. So look that up, it's very interesting. And we also have an anti-racism statement. We also want to acknowledge that although we're growing in diversity, we do have a large LGBTQA+, IA+ membership, but there's so much more we can do, and so it's up to each of us to make sure that we provide as welcoming an environment as possible for people of color. And disabilities, people with diverse abilities, rather, and other groups that don't have the same privileges in our culture. And so we ask for everyone's help. And now we'd also like to acknowledge any first-timers here. If there's anyone here who's here for the first time, anyone in the balcony or here, does not look like it. Anybody here for the second time? Third time? 50th time? There we go. Found some. Okay. I think it's time for the opening prayer.
Morning. I have to use my notes. Membership Sunday is my favorite. Because Membership Sunday is a celebration of our divinity. Joining a spiritual community is simply an outer expression of an inner commitment to our spiritual path. It's a sacred experience, and that puts us in a vulnerable heart space. And when we're in a vulnerable heart space, the divine has easy access to us. And it allows us to feel the presence. So my prayer is for all of us to allow ourselves to feel that vulnerability and experience this presence, this joy. Amen.
will stand and go through the state of the meeting. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. We are individualized expressions of God and are ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. And join me while we sing Face of God.
Good morning. Good to see everyone today. And for those of you who don't know who I am, if you ask me later, I might be able to tell you. I'll try. But I am and I happen to be, by happenstance, the president of the Board of Trustees at Althea. And this is a very exciting day for me and for the community as a whole to welcome people who have chosen to officially become a member here at Althea. And so I'm glad that you're here to participate in this and to welcome these individuals, excuse me, and to enfold them as a part of who we are. We all choose to be here. And it's kind of interesting to me that probably most of us are not here because this is where we grew up. There might be a few who grew up here, but most of us are here out of our own choice and out of our own discovery and out of our own embracing the ideas that we stand for at Althea. And so this is really a choice. Many of us might have grown up in religions that we didn't particularly choose, but it was part of our family. And some of us stayed there. Some of us decided to venture out into other worlds and other realms and other means of exploring who we are. And one of the things I like about New Thought is that there's not a lot of dogma. There are certain principles that we all kind of agree on. The main one being unity. Just the idea and the realization that life is one. And if that's true, each one of us must be a part of it. And if that's true, everyone else on this planet is a part of that one unity, whether we can see it all the time or not, whether we can enjoy it all the time or not, whether we can understand it all the time or not. What I like to remind myself of is that even at those times that I am in judgment of other people, it's not a might, it's an am. I know that there is still something deep inside me at the core of my being, no matter what my feeling might be, no matter what my experience might be, there is that very center, that little golden thread inside me that knows all the time that unity is the truth of who we are, the oneness. And so I think that's why I really feel drawn to this kind of community. And so today we're officially acknowledging some new members into Althea along with us. And so first of all, excuse me, why do they call it a frog? It doesn't feel like a frog. Anyway, whatever it is, I'm not warm. I would like to invite the members of the board of Althea and also the new members, as you are able, to come up to the front and light a candle, and then you may return back to your seat. But the board members can come up to the stage. There are a few of the new members who are unable to be here today, and also I am two people. I am myself, kind of most of the time, and I'm also Jenny, the cheerleader. She is with her family in Texas, and this was the only weekend she could get away, and she really loves the new member Sunday, and she wanted me to make sure to extend her greetings to all of us and all of the new members, and she's sorry she can't be here, but she's not sorry, she's having fun in Texas. So, if the new members would come up on the stage, and you can either come up these stairs, or you can walk to the side and come up. One by one, if you'd like to walk past the board members, we each have something for you. And then one by one, I would invite each of you to come up to the microphone and just state your name. And if you would just tell us how you happen to find Althea, and then just something that inspires you about being in Althea, about being here. So, Kevin, can you start?
Thanks, Bob. I'm Kevin Lockwood. I'm sorry my wife and son couldn't make it today. We got in at 2 a.m. Thank you to all the flight delays. And what brought me here was a man that's become a close friend, Aaron, which most of you know. And what struck me was the mission statement, the vision statement of Althea. It really touched my heart. And then every week we come, I feel more and more. wife and son feels.
Good morning, my name is Matt Wilcox. I was shown this wonderful space and you wonderful folks through the wonderful mother of my child, Shauna. We met, feels like lifetimes ago, years ago, and I've had such an incredible experience with each other, and this place is amazing. I'm here for much of the reasons shared. One is I was born in Colorado and moved to North Carolina after kindergarten. Happy to be back. And you guys have a wonderful opportunity here to continue to do wonderful work. And I'm really excited to be a part of it. So thanks for welcoming me and welcoming everything that I represent.
Hi there, I'm Shauna. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm recovering from a little bit of a cold. I first found Althea. I used to live in the neighborhood and I would walk by and I was really drawn to the architecture in the building. And so I came to a Christmas Eve service when Jonathan was here. It was in 2019 and it was so beautiful. And I was like, that's a space I would really like to join. And then the pandemic happened, and so I would watch Althea services online during the pandemic, and when we were all coming together in person, started to come pretty regularly. More recently, been volunteering and getting to know folks more, and what inspires me about Althea is the intention, the beauty, the community, the music. I'm inspired each week when I come, and so just decided to make it official and become a member.
Hi, my name is Sam, and like Shauna, I was first drawn to Althea by the architecture. I think I probably drove by it for the first time when I was like 15 years old, and it wasn't until about 15 plus years later that I finally made it inside to attend a dawn bath. And from there, thanks in large part to Sarma, I kept getting recruited for more and more things. And I finally showed up to service to be polite, and I did that pretty much every Sunday since because it's so inspiring. Each week, the message I found really inspiring, and everybody's so nice and welcoming, so thank you, everybody.
Hi, my name is Joanne Free, and I was really attracted to Althea because of the people that I've met and the respect and kindness I see everyone treating everyone else with, and that speaks to me big time. That inspires me. The music also inspires me. The mission statement, our prayers, I thoroughly enjoy the services. This is just a great fit for me, and I'm so blessed to be here. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone.
Okay. So we do have a little official part of welcoming the new members, in which they take some very simple but beautiful vows, in which we as a community respond to their vows in welcoming them into the Althea community. So if everyone in the community that is able would stand, and it's in your program, so you can know what to say. So new members, you all have your programs? So this is not a call and response, this is just a do it together, okay? I know we can do this because we are all new. Okay. Okay, so new members, if you would start off with first.
In this space and this time, I declare my desire to be a member of the Greater Althea.
Welcome.
I bring gifts, talents, and abilities to this community. Prepare our spiritual home.
We see you.
And now to be an active participant in loving, accepting, respecting, and embracing all in this community.
We hear you.
If we are all self to Althea, and ready to belong and accept my own spiritual world as partners in passion.
We know who you are. You are an expression of love. We know you are here by divine appointment, and we offer our hearts to you in celebration and in challenge.
What a gratitude for Althea.
We are
So grateful for you.
So if you would all join me in welcoming them with a big round of applause. And while we're giving you all a choice, you can certainly stand up here for the rest of the service. If you want to quiet the or you can sit back down in your seats. Thank you. Yeah. We are all watching.
I have a little reading here for today that seemed appropriate from White Eagle. It's called, What is Your Motive? Spiritual unfoldment should never be sought for purely selfish motives, or for love of sensation, or from curiosity, but only because we realize that it can make us healthy in body and radiant in spirit, and therefore better equipped to help our fellow man. The underlying purpose behind spiritual training of any kind should be selfless and altruistic. Patience will be required, and also the realization that you may never be called upon to do your work before the public, to impress others, or win recognition or reward. Indeed, most of you will labor quietly behind the scenes. Be very sure that all are placed in the exact position on this earth where they are most needed and where they will have opportunities for doing the most good. The unknown man or woman may contribute more to the advancement of the human race than one whose name is in everyone's mouth. The whole purpose of spiritual unfoldment is for the individual so to train that they are a more powerful center from which the love of God can radiate. Then one no longer hankers after the wonderful things that the eye can do. Instead, desires only that through them a greater love may be breathed forth into life.
Morning, Althea. Good morning. Welcome to new members. Very exciting. So this song I picked for today is a Hindu song of the heart chakra, which in Hindu religious chakra is the energy that runs through our body. And they view it as turning lotus petals, spinning along the body. And so I just like that vision. This song is also about the God Krishna, the God of curiosity, of the love of just going forth and singing things. And that's what I think makes us who we are to reach that enlightenment. Put a pebble in your pocket, don't take it out. A little story of what life is all about. Sitting in a tide swing at sunset. It rises and falls like waves out on the ocean. Waves out on the ocean. Hare Krishna Day. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Day, Hare Krishna. I love you, and I love you, and I love you. Start your feet and come and talk to me. Let me see the light in your eyes. Let me hold your hand and watch as you begin to smile. Hare Krishna Day, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Day, Hare Krishna, I love you. I feel you next to me, and my heart it opens wide. You hold me close, and you tell me that everything, it'll be alright. Now I feel you next to me. My heart, it opens wide. You hold me close, and you tell me that everything, it'll be alright. Open up your heart, child, and let it in. Open up your heart, child, and be free. Open up your heart, child, and let it in. And let the love of this life come in. Open up your heart, child, and let it in. Open up your heart, child, and be free. Open up your heart, child, and let it in. Let this love of life come in. You go the road blows in the summer wind. Tears of joy, they fall like raindrops on your skin. Captured by the moment, there are no words to speak. Close my eyes and feel your devotion wrap around me. It wraps around me. Hare Krishna Day, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Day, Hare Krishna, I love you. Seasons come and seasons go. Your love is there with the sun and with the snow. Light my way so I can see. It made peace, and it made peace. Hare Krishna Day, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Day, Hare Krishna, I love you. I feel next to me, and the heart opens wide. You hold me close and you tell me everything gonna be alright. And I feel you next to me. My heart, it opens wide. You hold me close and you tell me everything will be alright. Open up your heart, child, and let it in. Open up your heart, child, and be free. Open up your heart, child, and let it in. Let the love of the sky come in. Open up your heart, child, and let it in. Open up your heart, child, and be free. Open up your heart, child, and let it in. Let the love of this life, love of this life, love of this life. Come on.
Thank you, Matthew. That's beautiful. Well, it's that time of our service where we ask for all of our congregants to share of their wealth. And so, ushers, if you would please take the baskets, start passing them around. This is also certainly a part of becoming a new member. It is a financial commitment. So we thank you for the blessings that you share, your time, talents, and tithes. And we know also that there are a variety of ways to share. We have a tip jar in the back. You can set up an Evergreen account on our website. There's the QR code on the back of the program today. And, of course, cash readily accepted. I think it's indicative of where our money goes when you look at the flooring. And it's so exciting to know that through donations and your monetary support and other donations and the board's decision and input from the community, we're going to get new carpet. Wow. How about that? And so it's to everyone here and everyone in the past and those who are coming in the future. And we want to also say thank you to all the people out there on Facebook and on the recordings who might see this and are part of this community as well due to technological advances. All right. We have our statement of offering, so it's also in your program. The universe provides all I need and all that I give. With great joy, I share my prosperity, planting seeds for a world where common man. Next on our agenda is prayers for the community, and this is where those of you in attendance here today can express your desires, either thanksgiving or gratitude, or for other people or for yourself. This I send out to a list of about 35 prayer partners, practitioners, and your prayer will go out into the universe of love. 35 consciousnesses, if that's a word. So, ushers, you have ready with microphones?
I just like us to say a prayer for those people in Mississippi that were hit with tornadoes and storms. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'd like us to say some prayers for the East High School, everybody that was impacted in the community by the shooting that occurred last week.
Thank you. Sean, right?
I'd like to give blessings to all the new members and all of those of you who hope to be new members, that your time here is fruitful and that we all benefit from you becoming members. Thank you.
Amen.
I have one. Can you hear me? Yes. So one, thank you for everybody who's on my birthday card. It really helped me. Two, I really like the new members, and I really feel Althea is the better for it. We welcome you with our open hearts. And three, when nobody's looking, I'm going to steal one of those flowers up there.
All right, nobody look. Everybody avert your eyes. Thank you.
I'd like to ask prayers for my high school friend George Smith back in Lexington. He was going for some chemo this week.
He was what?
He's going in for some chemo this week for neck conditions. And especially also prayers for everybody at Denver's High School, the families, the administration, the whole community, the whole city. God bless them and support them.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone else? Lee.
I also would like to say a prayer for the kids at East High School. I know they're very traumatized and they're searching for a way to make this all better, and they sincerely express their feelings about the young man who did the shooting. And I pray that he is okay in the world that we saw. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you, everyone. I guess it's time for... What? We're not, oh, okay. Well, there's lots of announcements, but we're not going to do them. They're on the website. Are they in the program?
No.
No? Okay. Nothing's going on this week. It's all good. I will have one announcement. I will make one announcement for, we do affirmative prayers here, and we always have a prayer partner who's trained in providing that service, and we have, who is it today? Lee Dickinley. So if you are in need of a prayer, if you've never had one, I strongly, strongly urge you to try it out. They are truly, truly miraculous and on so many levels. So Dickinley will be available after the service over in the meditation room.
next to the library. And I think we have a community song. All right, that's nice. Thank you. No, I am not. Good morning. Please stand as you're able and join me in our community song for today. Good morning is broken. Good. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world. Sweet the ravens do fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the red garden, strong in completeness, where his feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the moonlight, even's our play. Praise the nation, praise every morning, God's great creation of the new day. Thank you so much.
Okay, you may be seated. If you choose, you may remain standing. So we move from the service directly into the annual meeting, general meeting. And just to let you know, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And so we follow the rules. And the rules say that we have an AGM every year in March. And so guess what? Today's that day. There's a lot of stuff. Oh, before that, I wanted to read the names of 3 new members who were unable to be here today, just so we, Raphael, Julie, Apis, and then you have Nikki's card, right? And Nikki, so there were, you all be kind of spoke in her place. But we will be welcoming them the next time they show up, so that we can all know who they are. So thank you. Okay, I have lots of paper. So what I just did was I called it to order in case anyone was unaware of what I just did. And the first, I'm going to be reading a lot of stuff out, and I just wanted to let you know that if there are any of you that would like any copies of what I'm reading out and what I'm presenting today, just let me or a board member know the email address, and I can email you these documents. We did not print them out because it's a lot of pages, but if you have any questions or want to see the actual originals, please let me know or a board member and I will get them to you. The first thing we're going to do, and I'm going to go over this quickly, and I'm not going to read every single little change we made or we proposed, and this is for the bylaws. We needed to update the bylaws because of some wording and some changes that the board wanted to make in order for Althea to function a little bit more smoothly. And so I'm going to go over these really quickly. Please try to stay awake, but if you want to take a little nap, if that's the way you deal with bylaws, that's also fine. The first thing that we did was at the very beginning, where it said the corporate name is the First Divine Science Church of Denver. We have proposed to change that to doing business as Althea Center for Engaged Spirituality. Hereinafter called the church, so that all the way through the bylaws, we don't have to keep repeating that over and over. So that was the first one. And the second one had to do with membership. And in the old bylaws, the members could not become members until they had been received by the church in a place like that. And we are eliminating that requirement so that if you wish to become a new member, you just go, you talk to one of the board members and fill out an application, and we will give you a membership card, and your membership will be effective as of that date. We will still have the new member welcoming ceremony, but if you want to join between ceremonies, that's just fine. Okay. The other thing we did with membership, there's two levels of membership: a general member and then an active member, and active with a capital A. So in the old bylaws, it stated you had to be a member for 6 months before you could be designated as an active member. And we have proposed to change that to 3 months instead of 6 months. The other change we made was notification. We have to get notification to all members by mail for every meeting, and we changed what we added to that for email. So because email is what people use today, so we changed that requirement from having to address postcards and stick little labels on it to just being able to email the members. Email. And the board of directors, it currently says, where is that? It currently says that the board of directors consists of 7 members. And since that is just not always possible, we added the word optimally, that it shall consist optimally of 7 members. That is always our goal. Right now we have 5, and so theoretically we're kind of out of compliance with the bylaws, so we wanted to make it a little more flexible, because all of us are more flexible these days than we used to.
Aren't any members required to be on the board?
I will have to look that up real quick. If so, we will appoint you as the enforcer of that. Let's see here. There was also talking about the board of directors. One of the requirements of the board of directors was to be knowledgeable about divine science. And since our primary focus is not just divine science anymore, we just changed that to be New Thought and the history of this church of Althea. So a new board member should be aware and have an understanding of New Thought and also the history of Althea. We also added that the Board of Trustees serve a 3-year term, and they can opt to re-up for an additional 3 years, which was not in the original bylaws. Let's see. That's almost it. And we just changed some things to majority. We added some words just to make things a little bit clearer, and also adding in Members can vote by proxy. The other kind of big change we made was to the section on the prayer partners. In the original bylaws, it had two parts of the prayer partners. It had prayer ministry and the practitioners, which had to have passed a course of study in divine science. We are no longer teaching those courses. We're going to try to teach some of them, but we have eliminated that as a requirement to be a practitioner. So we just have one class now, and we're calling them prayer ministry, also known as the prayer partners. And that they will self-govern, they will choose their own leader. In the original bylaws, it said that the minister was in charge of that group, but they're able and willing and intelligent enough to rule themselves and to figure out how they're going to carry out their business. The only other thing we did at the very end, most of you probably know that if a 501c3 dissolves, if it just goes kaput, the assets must be given to another 501c3. They can't be sold on the general market or just given away to anybody. So we kept the first paragraph, which is the legalese of it, but we did eliminate, it said in case the members are unable to decide on an organization, that the assets will be given to Brooks Center of Spirituality, and we've eliminated that, so that we will decide how the assets need to be distributed if we dissolve the corporation, which we don't plan to do at all. But that's another legal thing that has to be in the bylaws. So, this, just to tell you a little teeny bit, these changes took hours and hours and hours of back and forth. We consulted Katie several times as our esteemed lawyer in residence to make sure we weren't changing anything illegally in the state of Denver. And we had a lot of people helping. It went under many reviews. We changed punctuation to make it a little more correct. So we did do a lot of work on this, and a lot of people reviewed it before we came to a final copy of the proposed amendment. So I would entertain a motion that the bylaws be accepted as amended.
Quick question.
Question?
Yeah. Are you open for comments on this?
Oh, what?
Are you open for comments? Is there comments time? I just have one thought on the first thing. I'm personally not triggered by the word church. That was a big deal here a few years ago. A humble suggestion, you might consider the word center versus church. Or is this just in the bylaws we're talking about?
We did consider all those, but since under the 501c3, we are a church.
Okay.
So that word really needs to be in there, because that's our status as a 501c3. We don't say that from the pulpit very often, but that's status-wise, that's what we are. Stephanie?
Relative to board members' terms, is there a limit in the bylaws about how many terms can be served before having to roll off?
Yeah, it's a 3-year term, and it can be extended once. That's it. Katie?
Yeah, I am really aware that you guys spend a lot of time on this, and that's great. My only question is, and I understand that currently we don't really have a minister or spiritual director. My only question on the prayer partner, now prayer ministry, is that they, reinforce themselves and they have the approval of the board, but there's no connection between the prayer ministry and the spiritual director, and that just seems odd to me since
The spiritual director would be welcome to be a member of the prayer community.
maybe that should be in here somewhere.
Pardon?
Maybe that should be in here somewhere.
Well, anyone can basically join it. It's not an exclusionary They just have to be, where is it?
But it's just odd that we'll supervise the service and activity of these individuals. It would be a little odd that you have, I just see a potential conflict there in the future.
I'm just saying, we did consider that. If you think there's a legal issue, we can review it, but we did think about that and consider it, and spoke with people in the prayer partner, and I mean, the ministry is, again, the spiritual leader is welcome to be a part of that, but would not, would not run it.
Well, if I can address that, I don't think that's, I agree to a certain degree, but I think the last two spiritual directors we had never once came to one of our meetings. Not that there shouldn't be a connection between the two, but I'm just saying, practically speaking, they never came once. And I think with the last spiritual director, my personal opinion is, I don't want any connection with the spiritual director. And as he said, that connection is almost natural. And the reason I'm speaking to this is that I am, quote unquote, in charge of the group, and anyone is welcome. You don't have to be a licensed or a trained practitioner or prayer partner. Anyone is welcome. We've had, lots of people come, well, not lots, but individual members, because they were curious, they wanted to learn more. It's a great group of people. We talk about prayer often. Anyone's welcome, and that certainly would include the spiritual director.
Any other questions? So would someone make a motion that we accept the new bylaws?
So
Dick Peterson, and do I hear a second?
Second.
And basically, Tim was the second, and basically, if you're a member, you are welcome to vote. If you're not yet an active member, you really should not be voting quite yet. So all those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed? All those abstaining? Thank you, it's passed. So Barbara, it's done. And many others. Okay, now I get to read. Jenny, as I said before, is not here, and she has presented this huge treasurer's report. I'm not going to go over all the figures, but again, anyone who would like a copy of this is for last year through December. Please let me know, and I can print you a copy. I can give you this one, or I can email you a copy with all the stuff in it. So I just want to real quickly read over Jenny's report, and we ended 2022, and then this is confusing because we take money out and we put money back in order to make it more understandable. So we ended 2022 with a net income, both on the income statement and cash basis, thanks to a generous gift of $101,000 in November from the estate of Althea member Gloria Mazzaro. If we back out a gift, we ended 2022 with a net loss, negative $88,000 for the income statement, and negative $26,000 on a cash basis. Because from that negative $88,000, if we remove depreciation, and on the books we always book depreciation, but nonprofits really don't ever have to do anything with that, but we still book it. So if we remove the depreciation, and also last year, as many of you know, a lot of investments went downhill, and ours as well did. So if we remove our negative depreciation and investment loss, which do not affect our cash at all, that's when it comes to a negative $26,000. The adjustment to remove Laurie's gift is very important because our goal goal is to achieve a financial state where we are breaking even without large gifts and rare gifts. Before the pandemic, we were showing an average income gain of about $3,000 every month. So we really are aiming to get back to that, back in that situation. Also note that we had a spiritual director cost from January through half of September. So October, November, December, we didn't even have a cost of a spiritual leader for that. Also, our long-term renters represent $87,000 a year in income to Althea. These renters are a great benefit to us, but currently we're really relying too heavily on our rental income. Our goal should be to cover a majority of our expenses through our contribution, through our community, not through the rental income that we receive. To be financially healthy, we need to build up our giving and our classes so that we have more income that comes directly from the community. To keep the lights on, to pay the salaries. We really look forward to a new spiritual leader, and we feel certain, and it was our idea that this will also help us to increase. I just have noted, maybe you have too, but you don't see statistics every week, that except for today, when I can't imagine why people didn't want to be here for the annual general meeting. What could be more exciting in your life? We have been increasing our weekly attendance slowly but surely every week. And this is just amazing to me. It means that you are welcoming people in and attracting people to this community. And I just think that is so exciting. So I think we owe ourselves a round of applause just for the fact that we are growing without spiritual people. Okay, so if anyone would like this copy, please see me afterwards. I'd be glad to give it to you. Or if you would like me to email you a copy, please let me know and I will do that. Okay, 2 down. Finances and bylaws.
Over here, can you post a copy of that, or if there's one already on the board bullet board?
Sure, I'll pin this one up here. It's very small print.
That's all right.
But still, people can look at it and put it back. And again, I'd be glad to eat. Would you want me to eat?
No, I just like to look on the board, that's fine.
Because, really, if any of you have a boring meeting ahead, if you want some excitement in your life, please let me send you the financial statement. So we had a little blip in the continuum of life happen this week. And I'm going to read the report. I would like to tell you ahead of time, just so that you don't gasp too loudly for breath. But we believe that we can take care of this in a really efficient and positive way. We have the means and the people and the ability and money and savings that we can deal with this. So this is from an update from our insurance inspection, which happened last month. This week, we are informed that our insurance provider has decided to cancel our policy effective the end of April. We have 1 month to address the areas of concern. While it may not be possible to complete all of the recommendations in this time frame, we hope to get as much done as possible, and if we are unable to get an extension, we will try to accomplish everything in a time frame that will get our insurance reinstated as quickly as possible. Our first project is to address an issue that is causing an urgent structural problem. When a cedar tree came down on Williams Lawn in 2021, we were unsuccessful in removing the root ball, leaving an exposed area for water. This was already a concern, and over time it has exacerbated the problem. The ineffective drainage has affected our structure because water is not being drained. There is evidence of a slight shift as seen in the cracks in the balcony, northwest wall, and ceiling. They continue down into the sanctuary. Correcting this problem requires removal of the root ball, construction of a small reservoir to catch the draining. Interior walls need to be there, and we will be required to have a structural engineer sign off on that. The second required project is repairing and finishing all the cracks in the wall and ceiling and the balcony. 2 areas have already been completed, which we reported on. This requires scaffolding to be erected and the work of a contractor. The third project is to address the loose and missing brick pavers in the courtyard walkway. This is required to maintain safe walkways. We obviously need more funding to complete these projects to get our property insurance reinstated. This is why we are continuing our 100-year fundraiser. We've raised $15,000 so far, and it has already been spent on the completion of back stairwell and repairing 2 critical spots on the balcony. We'll be asking you to donate above and beyond to get us back this critical time. Historic Denver is going to help us extend the reach of our fundraiser and hopefully expand our audience. The end goal for this year is to finally be able to repaint the entire sanctuary, and we will continue to move forward with our goal of bringing this incredible historic building and spiritual home of our community back to its former glory. So, as I said, this was something that was unexpected, and we are dealing with it. Rick and Daryl both have spent hours in meetings with our insurance broker and other individuals in order to make this move forward. So, I mean, you can ask questions. I don't know that I have any answers other than what I read, but otherwise it's just something that all of us as a community need to be aware of, that we have some work to do right away immediately. So, and any help that anybody can suggest.
So, Bob, is there really very limited options of insurance carriers for buildings such as ours, communities such as ours?
There are not a lot of insurance carriers which will insure a building like this because of its historic and because of its age. So we have often gone out to and looked for other companies. We have a broker that we work with. So we rely on him also to help us locate if there are possible other insurers. It's not easy to get someone to insure this building. That's why it's so expensive. We paid almost $20,000 a year for insurance. Okay. Sarma, you are up.
Good morning. Good morning. It cannot be said often enough that the Althea Sunday experience happens because so many people put in time and effort. Most of them are volunteers. So if you currently are a volunteer or have ever volunteered with Althea, please stand up and be acknowledged. So currently there are about 36 active volunteers making everything happen. We can always use more. Many hands make light work. There is a volunteer opportunity to suit your interest. From early morning lunch prep in the kitchen, setting up the dining room, cleaning afterwards, greeters, ushers, running the lights and sound, to all the people who participate in delivering the message from the stage. Just tell us what you'd like to do, and even if it's once a month, and we will be grateful. And starting in May, there will be a different person to tell that to. Because I'm moving to Michigan, we will have a new volunteers coordinator. Then the good thing is you already know him. You know him as Chef Matt, Yogi Matt, or today as musician Matthew Quigley. So thank you for the opportunity to be of service. I said, crying. Please show Matt the same love and support you've shown me.
I'll be wrong, teachers.
If anybody in this room, in our congregation, or in this world knows how to say thank you to Sorma, please let me know. I don't have a clue, except to say I love you and thank you. So, any other questions before we close and go to eat? Carrie, excuse me.
Yes, I was wondering if the board has any recommendations or any, forward movement where there's themes or things that you want to present in this next year, things that people have come up with that you're putting out there, so are moving forward at all.
Thank you. So we need to just remain open in communication, and people that have ideas, questions, please move forward. Lee.
I would just like to say that I appreciated your bringing up the minister being involved in prayer. Because I think that's important that we maintain a close relationship with the spiritual director.
Thank you. I think we all agree with that. The only thing we did was change it from being a requirement, which it was in the bylaws. It was required. And that's all we did. But absolutely. Thank you. Harley.
And speaking of the spiritual leader, we are really working hard on that, and we don't announce it every week or anything, but we've made great progress. We've got some great candidates. We're moving it right along to have them see and learn more about them. But just to let you all know that that is absolutely in the works.
And we will have a lot of community involvement in that. Each candidate that is moving forward will speak here at least twice, and will hopefully give workshops, and we will have a community, what do you call it, town hall, whatever it is, that will be in person and also Zoom available, so people can talk to the candidates and ask questions and get to know them on a more personal basis, rather than just seeing them up front on Saturday. So we have a lot going on, and it's exciting. Thank you, Laura. Anything else? Okay, so just, I'm going to do my shout out, but I have to. I usually, during the talk, I think about the one line I want to say, so now I have to do it now. Okay. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Stand up, stand up. Testify, adjudicate. It is that thing called life. I feel it inside me right now. I feel the unity around me and within me. I celebrate it and I celebrate myself. I see you. I hear you. And I know you. And all is good. And so it is. Let's eat.
How are you, dear Tim?
Well, this one is instructional.
You know, all them years in Pittsburgh with my brothers.
Hello.
Hey.
Feeling okay?
Yeah.